finished yet.
ZenVStyle.com. 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 ZenVStyle.com.
Welcome to the Black Agenda Podcast. I'm your co-host, Adrian Guest, along with co-host Devin Dito. And we really appreciate all of you viewers for joining us today for a Super Bowl special, talking about Super Bowl 55. Devin, tomorrow is going to be an exciting day. I think it's going to be refreshing because America is really, going through this pandemic hard right now, and football should be America's favorite pastime because of how everybody tunes in so much to the Super Bowl and the commercials and things. So I think that we can expect that tomorrow will be kind of a little bit like a breath of fresh air for everybody. What do you think?
Definitely. Sports is always like that. It's supposed to be an escape, from real life, and so that's why people were itching to get back to sports. During the summer when the NBA, NFL, everybody was on pause, and so eventually things did start to get back to normal. And so yeah, I mean it's an American pastime, and of course we all look forward to it. And we couldn't have got a better matchup, with Tom Brady, the legend, versus the new kid who is Patrick Mahomes, and so. The NFL could not have asked for really a better
like a
storyline. I'm telling you, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's perfect for what they needed, and like you say, it is a breath of fresh air to kind of get the attention off of the virus and everything and what's happening with that. And so we want to kind of get right into it. So we'll start with just some facts about the game itself and what you can expect to see tomorrow. And so here are some quick facts here. Of course. The teams that are involved are the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going for their second appearance back-to-back now. They're trying to win 2 in a row here, and they will be taking on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not the New England Patriots, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've gotten used to saying that a lot. So the game is in Tampa, Florida, at Raymond James Stadium. You can watch it on CBS, and you can also stream it on the CBS Sports app. And then it's the kickoff tomorrow is at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. And then the important, there's always musical acts that people look towards. Even people who don't watch the game, they would at least tune in for the halftime show. The national anthem is going to be sung by Eric Church and Jasmine Sullivan. And then America the Beautiful is going to be sung by HER. And then halftime is going to be The Weeknd. And so I'm excited to see what he's going to do because I think I read a story saying he put $7 million into this halftime performance of his own money. And so it's going to be interesting to see what he comes out and does.
Yeah, that's crazy because I was reading an article talking about the fact that you don't really get paid to perform at the halftime show, but all of the exposure and the ratings it kind of boosts you up. So I think The Weeknd is looking for a return on investment on that $7 million for sure.
Which he will get probably.
Exactly. I think another interesting thing, Devin, is the fact that they will have fans, at the game. Looks like they're going to have about 25,000 fans, which will include about 700 to 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers who actually got free tickets from the NFL. So that's really nice to kind of, reward some of our frontline workers who've been going through this pandemic from the beginning. And viewers, just to kind of give you some interesting facts about, Super Bowl 55. This is the first Super Bowl that the whole city's team is actually playing in, which is, really big, maybe a little bit of a home field advantage. We'll look to see how that works out. It's the first time since 2004 a team went back-to-back with Super Bowls. The Seahawks closely kind of repeated this. When you look at the legend that we've been talking about with Tom Brady, this is his 10th Super Bowl appearance, and it could maybe his 7th win. We'll kind of see how that goes, which he's actually, got a record with the most, appearances from any player, and then already could have the most wins from any player. So some pretty interesting things about the game, Devin.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said, that's the storyline couldn't have gotten any better for the NFL. If you were looking for the best possible situation for a game to happen during the pandemic, there's no other name other than Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes right now that would draw people to the TV. Not just hardcore, football fans, but casual fans, people who know the names Mahomes and Brady who want to tune in just to see. Can the new kid beat the legend? Can, like you say, David and Goliath? So it's gonna be interesting to see how that is going to play out. It's going to be a really good game, I think.
And to mention, Brady's getting up there in age.
He is. I mean, he's 43, so he's pretty. He's up there definitely. And so we have something special for this time for our show here. So we actually have a panel this time, and so we have some friends on. We're gonna bring them on in just a second as I get the pictures right. But yeah, just Adrian, if you could just kind of expand on what you are expecting. If you've always been somebody who's tuned into the Super Bowl, kind of give us your background on that.
Yeah, Devin. I mean, I think with the Super Bowl, everybody's always kind of tune in. I would admit that I was more geared when I played in high school. I was always kind of watching, kind of keeping in. But I mean, I think anyone who lives in America knows that when Super Bowl is happening, everybody's tuning in, everybody's watching. Like you said, the musical performances, everyone's trying to see what's going on with that. We know that we've had some interesting Super Bowl, performances, some malfunctions and different things like that.
That was the best Super Bowl performance ever.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking forward to see if there'll be anything like that going on. Of course, the commercials. I think that's what everybody goes back and forward looking into. So yeah, I think it's going to be real interesting to kind of see, especially with a full year of going through a pandemic. How have these teams really been able to prepare themselves for a really big time in their career.
Exactly. I mean, it's a lot of people don't make it this far. There are thousands of players that come into the league every year, and very few make it. You're lucky if you get there. You're even luckier if you win it. So let's bring on our panel of commentators here. They're all our friends, but we wanted to bring them on and kind of get their insights, expertise, and so let's bring them on here. So what you see there, so from left to right, of course, you have Adrian. He's always on the show, but then you have what you call a sports commentator. He's been on the show a couple times. Mr. Thad Fairley, he's joining us again. And then we also have, new this time, is Mr. Marlon Dorsey here, who also is a sports enthusiast, big Carolina Panthers fan there. So a lot of heartache on his side. And then our next guest is Mr. Michael Ray. He's been on the show, but on the audio podcast. You've heard him. You just have not seen him until now. And so if you want to listen to his episode, his was actually being more than an athlete. We did that episode back in August. And so it's a really good one. You should go and check that out. And then, of course, there's me. I'm the last one on the end of the row here. So let's kind of get started here and tell people, give your thoughts on the game first. And so our first question, if I can get to it here, is kind of, we've talked a lot about Tom Brady. He's 43. He's going against a new kid who's 25. And so not a lot of people really expected Tom Brady to get this far. And so the question is, what would another Super Bowl win do for his legacy? That would be 7 wins. It's his 10th Super Bowl. And so I guess, Michael, if you want to kind of start us off there, what would this do for Tom Brady's legacy, win or lose? Or is it kind of already written? Has his book been written already?
Well, anytime you win a Super Bowl, it's going to add to your legacy. I think for Tom Brady, he doesn't have anything in terms of legacy to lose from the Super Bowl, but he has everything to gain. Tom is already the greatest winning quarterback we've ever seen. So going from 6 to 7 doesn't change that in any real way. But the interesting matchup between Tom and Patrick is that you have who we now know as the greatest versus who we expect to become the greatest. So that, I think, is really what's driving a lot of the very interesting dynamics between the two, given Tom's age, Patrick's age. How many times are we going to be able to see a matchup like this? This may be a one and done type deal. We hopefully may be able. Tom says he wants to play till he's 45, so we might have 2 more years to maybe get a shot. But I think that's really the most intriguing aspects in terms of legacy. Tom has everything to gain, not much to lose. Patrick has everything to gain, and he has a lot to lose because undefeated, once you lose it, you can't get it back.
Right. Marlon, Michael says, the book has kind of been written for Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. probably regardless of what happens tomorrow. But what are your thoughts on his legacy, win or lose? What would it do for his career and the story that's going to be told?
I mean, I agree with Michael because for the most part, we always look at it as the next Super Bowl is harder than the last one because the last one is, it's been complete. So the next journey starts in, trying to get to the next Super Bowl. And this one would probably mean a little bit more for him because this is, a new coach, new setting, new environment. It's different from the Patriot way that we've known him being a part of for like the last 15, or so years. So by him making a drastic change like that, switching divisions, like I said earlier, switching teams, switching coaches, system, that this one may mean a little bit more because it shows that he was able to do it without what we call the greatest head coach of all time, in the NFL, and Bill Belichick. So I wouldn't necessarily say him losing it wouldn't hurt him. Him winning, like I said, it adds to the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
But this particular one in this setting may stand out a little bit more, especially considering this point in his career.
So Thad, I mean, will it? I could see that. I agree with that point there. This one could mean a lot more. Your first year away from Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and a lot of people didn't expect you to let alone make the playoffs, but be in the Super Bowl and have a chance to really win it. So, Thad, with it possibly being, meaning a little bit more to Tom Brady, what do you think? Win or lose, what will people probably be still saying about Tom Brady?
People will still be calling him the GOAT. So that's number one. It's not going to change now that because he already has 6. So that won't change if he drops another one. But he will still be, like Michael said, the winningest quarterback of all time, who's been to the most Super Bowls. Win or lose, you go to 10. I mean, 6 out of 10 ain't bad.
That's 60%.
6 out of 10 is not bad. So I feel like this won't put a blemish on his legacy. People will look at him and be like, wow, you got there on your first season on a new team in the NFC. So I don't think it'll do anything bad for his legacy. People will look at him, and some will be like, oh, man, you should have got that one. But if he wins it, we already know it's going to just confirm what people already believe, that he is the greatest quarterback of all time. And, people take that and like, he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. In the NFL, you have to get to the Super Bowl. You have to win, and he's done that multiple times. So I know there are other quarterbacks that are more talented than him, but the resume shows that if he wins the Super Bowl, people already say he is the greatest of all time. But if he wins this 7th one with everything that happened, especially during COVID and going, so not only did he go to a new team and in a different conference, but he went during a troubling time and a unpredictable time as far as it goes with COVID-19. So if he pulls this off, Brady fans going wild because he will be the greatest quarterback of all time.
And I feel like we've all been, Thad kind of talks about that resume that Brady has, and we've all been talking about how he's kind of the GOAT. And, one of the things that I did a little digging, and I noticed that, when you look at Tampa's record over the past 5 years, it wasn't really that impressive. And then you get the addition of Tom Brady, and bam, we're in the Super Bowl. So I don't know who wants to pick it up, maybe Marlon. Was it, Brady, was he really the addition that the team needed to kind of get here? Or does, maybe Tampa's defense deserve a little bit more credit for what they've done against some QBs like Breeze and Rodgers?
I do believe Tampa's defense was good last year. A lot of people don't realize that because, you had Jameis Winston, that it was a good bit of amount of turnovers that he had in a bunch of games. But the defense was actually pretty good last year. You got the addition of a player like Antoine Winfield Jr., which, kind of bolsters it up. But and Tom Brady coming in, that did help because that helped bring down the turnovers of the team. And then, but another thing that people tend to forget is that they went out, they drafted Tristan Wirfs. He made I think he's gonna be like an All-Pro, rookie, protecting this blind side. You turn around, you also get a guy like Leonard Fournette to come in and back up a guy like Rojo, which kind of adds another dynamic to your backfield because now you have two double-headed running attack. Cameron Brate, he was on the team last year, but then you add a guy like Gronk in. You know, Gronk somewhat, from what it looks like earlier, he didn't look like he was in shape, but now all of a sudden it looks like half prime Gronk is back running around out there. You get an addition of a player like Antonio Brown coming in. You know, we know Antonio Brown was out for a minute, but watching him run around on the field, it's like, I don't think this guy lost a step. So there are a few other small additions that kind of help. And also, I think Bruce Arians just kind of, you know, in this particular sense, I don't think he necessarily changed his system, but I think the players kind of adjusted to it really well. But I think that's a big thing that helped Brady out too. And like Michael, like Thad was saying earlier, you know, being in COVID, I think it just took a minute for them to gel pretty good. And that's one of the biggest things. And hats off to Bruce Arians, you know, with his coordinators, Byron Leftwich and
yes.
Bulls.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that a lot of people are overlooking is how good these coordinators have been this year. They were good last year, but as you see, you know, Tampa Bay, you know, wasn't in the Super Bowl last year, so, you know, they tend to get overlooked. But now we're seeing on full display just how great they have been, you know, as far as play calls, situational football, the small things that, you know, the people don't see, you know, just run around. You know, everything. The small thing behind the product that's on the field. Let me say that.
Exactly. And yeah, Michael, you could probably pick up on that because it sounds like what Marlon's saying is that, you know, maybe Brady was just a little bit of icing on the cake or a little bit of grease to kind of get the wheels moving.
It's going, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that in some sense. I do think primarily it's about Brady. Having played on teams throughout my career, I know that sometimes there's a singular person, and every single person that he mentioned, he talked about, were key contributors to helping them reach this level. But all of those people showed up because Tom Brady was involved. They didn't show up last year when Jameis Winston was the quarterback. And
right.
It hurts my heart to say it. But when you give up 112 points to the other team because you give literally a 30 touchdowns, it's great. 30 interceptions cancels all of that out. So you look at this now being the second year of Todd Bowles, another black head coach who was let go prematurely, but that's a different conversation. He's down in Tampa Bay now, and this is now the second year now being in his system. So those players are now familiar with that defense. So they're able to play and not think about football. But all of that is really galvanized behind the belief that we can achieve. Why do you have that belief? Because number 12 has a locker room today. And that is what Tom Brady brings to a team that can't be measured, that can't be documented. It's the desire, that belief that he creates, similar to very much Patrick Mahomes. The reason why the Chiefs play the way they do is because everyone on that squad knows that 15 is lined up over there. So when you got one of those guys on your team as a player in any position, you work harder, you give more, you're more devoted, you're more focused because you have a belief that emanates from that player. And Tom Brady is the ultimate team leader in the fact that every team he plays on, those guys believe that if I can just get him the ball at the end of the game, he will find a way to put us in a position to win. And I think that is something that can't be measured. And what you see is a difference in a team like Tampa Bay, who was talented last year. These are virtually all the same players, minus a few marquee names. But Mike Evans was there last year. Chris Godwin was there last year. Barrett was there last year. These guys were there last season. So what is the difference now? And I think it comes down to that belief that my quarterback is going to make the winning play, as opposed to he might make a winning play versus he might turn it over.
Right.
And that's a big difference.
It is a big difference. And, you know, that it sounds like Michael is saying Brady is like, you know, the football Santa Claus, the football Messiah, that when he's there, there's hope and there's a purpose on the team. What do you think about that?
And listen, there is a huge example of that being Antonio Brown. He had a whole stigma about, you know what I'm saying, clowning around. Hey, Antonio Brown the clown, you know. Yeah. People get on him in the locker room. Even Bruce Arians, who coached him a few years ago, a little while ago in the Steelers organization. And he He said he was a problem there. Most people he looked at, wide receivers are always looked at as divas, but there was no one who was more of a diva these last few years than Brown. I guess Tom pulled him to the side like, "Hey, Bruce, listen, I really want this guy. I think let me talk to him." He was like, "All right, I'm gonna let you since you Tom, listen." Hey, B, you gotta get your act together. Hey, B, I'm getting my act together. And then, and then now he's about to play in a Super Bowl. No one would have thought Antonio Brown would be in a Super Bowl, let alone on another team. A lot of people didn't think Antonio Brown would get another shot. But
That's
since
true.
Tom Brady, and this is the leadership that Michael was talking about, since Tom Brady vouched for him and wanted to give him a chance, it almost like, hey, that homeless person you pick up on the street and help him get his act together. Let you get a shower. We're going to clean you up. You know what I'm saying? Help you get a job. That's what that is, bro.
We got you.
You can't, I'm with Michael. Like, people like Gronk is a crazy guy, but he straightens up with Tom. I'm saying there was a lot of people on that Bucks team, and the feedback of everyone has mentioned Jameis, but Tom is a completely different player from Jameis. Jameis may be, like I said earlier about quarterbacks being more talented. You could argue that Jameis has a bigger arm than Brady. Jameis, you know what I'm saying, sling a little further is maybe you could argue that he may be a more talented quarterback, but you clearly see, and it's because of the years that Tom has been in the league. Jameis ain't smarter than and I was talking to Mario talk, but Tom is one of those quarterbacks that performs. You look out there, you almost like he performing surgery out there. It's kind of like just picking the spots, pinpointing if there's a weakness, he'll point it out. Perfect example was when Scotty Miller, he dropped that bomb to Scotty Miller during the NFC Championship. Jameis probably wouldn't have saw that. That's who Tom is. He won't throw a bomb 80 yards down the field, but he'll pick his spots and wear you down. And that's just what comes from years and years of not just NFL experience, but playoff experience. And like I said, being a leader and quarterback, like I said, the COVID situation, it's crazy because the Chiefs had a leg up on everybody. They still had the same squad. You just had to put a couple rookies in and there, but the quarterback position, as we know, is probably the most important position on the team, especially on offense. And Tom, with them not having legit off seasons this year, it was kind of tough not seeing people who you had never played with, but somehow they got it done, and he's in a big one once again. So that's just Tom.
Exactly. He made a huge difference, and so we've talked a lot about Tom Brady, but we also want to think about both teams here and both quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And so should be a pretty straightforward question. Which team has the most pressure going into tomorrow's game? You have a lot of players on the Bucks who are going to be in the Super Bowl for the first time. You got the Chiefs who are trying to do a back-to-back. You got Mahomes. People are trying to put him in the GOAT conversation already. Some people are trying to say the Chiefs are a dynasty, if they win back-to-back. So I guess we could start, with Marlon. Which team to you has the most pressure coming into the game tomorrow?
Man, I don't want to necessarily say it's more pressure on one particular team because in a sense, you're kind of watching two heavyweights fight, with the headline of Brady versus. Because I look at it like this: if Brady wins, it's another one added. If Mahomes loses, I'm pretty sure all of us on here probably Mahomes will be back at it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like if Mahomes lose, they won't ever see another Super Bowl. So I kind of feel that as far as legacy chasing, I would say the pressure is on Mahomes a little bit more. If we, the fans, the media, if we're gonna put him on that pedestal as being the greatest ever, it starts early in his career now, and you got to keep adding as you go along because, unfortunately, as unfair as football is, we don't know how unpredictable things can be. Because who's to say the same thing could be happening, next year when the next season comes up. So I'm gonna lean forward and say more pressure is on Mahomes, but good pressure in a way, not bad pressure.
Good pressure. Michael, you say he says good pressure on Mahomes because he is the new kid trying to build his legacy. Do you agree?
I kind of agree in a sense that I think that this is one of the rare situations where wins and losses don't take away from either legacy. Let me explain that for a second. So Patrick Mahomes, his legacy, we're talking about him being the greatest ever. Even if he loses this Super Bowl, but then goes on to win 4 or 5 Super Bowls, we will look at him and say, yeah, he lost to Tom Brady, but it took the greatest quarterback that ever existed to beat him. If Tom Brady loses, we will say the same thing.
Yeah.
So for them individually, their individual legacies, I don't know if there's really a downside so long as they both play well. In terms of the pressure to win, I think the pressure to win is on Tampa Bay, clearly because Tampa Bay's stars are all they're
Oh, did we lose Michael?
Michael, I think we may be losing you.
Okay,
Man,
that you want to pick up?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Get back. Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
We lost you for it. He didn't.
Go finish it up, Mike.
Pick up where you left off.
Pause for a second. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in terms of individual legacy, I think the pressure is about even. But in terms of team pressure, I think there's more pressure on the Bucks than the Chiefs because the Chiefs core is built to be around for the next 10 years. The Bucks core is much older, so those guys, I think there's more pressure on them because their players are later in later stages of their career. JPP is not a young rookie anymore. Those kind of guys. So like their opportunities to get back to the Super Bowl, I think is more limited than the opportunities the Chiefs are going to have, considering the NFC East just in general. So I think there's more team pressure on the Bucks to get this win. Plus, being the first home game, the first home team to play, you don't want to be the first home team to play and lose. So that is a additional pressure that kind of came out of the blue. That's just more circumstantial. But the Chiefs ride in on Saturday. So, you know, y'all been here all week, so there's no reason y'all shouldn't be playing better. So there's more pressure to perform, I think, on the Bucks than there are on the Chiefs because of things like COVID and just the team dynamic overall.
And Thad, you know, just to wrap this up, he's so Marlon says good pressure on Mahomes and the Chiefs. You know, Michael says the Bucks, you know, they have an older core of players. You know, they got the vet Tom Brady he's riding them, so he says it's more pressure on them to win. You know, how much pressure do you think, you know, the Chiefs have on them to do the back-to-back, you know, to do something that hasn't been done in almost, 20 years, kind of talk about that, and what team do you think has the most, pressure to win tomorrow?
Usually I think you said 15 years, usually every 10 years, team repeats. Obviously it's harder to repeat in the NFL.
Definitely.
As opposed to other sports. So I agree. Michael's point is very interesting. I agree with Marlon. The Chiefs, it's more pressure on the Chiefs to win simply because they're here again. And one of you guys pointed it out that Mahomes doesn't want to go, and when he finally rides off into the sunset 10, 15 years from now, he'll be like, well, man, you got everyone. But the one against that old man Brady, bro, you just couldn't beat him. Like he was his kryptonite. The guy who was the GOAT, I guess, if Mahomes gets that far, which we believe he will, the GOAT before him, it's just he would have that one blemish where you couldn't get it done against Tom Brady. So Mahomes-wise, and the Chiefs, again, it's kind of set up for them. Like I said earlier, they didn't really have any problems. They had the same team from last year, while other teams had to get acclimated with a new quarterback, a couple of new wide receivers. Like, most of their positions were intact from last year when they won the Super Bowl. So besides a couple of rookies, they just had to get on the horse and do it again. But Michael's point is very interesting because Tampa Bay, and it's crazy because these two franchises have been through a lot. These franchises have suffered.
They have
a lot over, the past decade, 20 years or whatever. Like, who would have thought we would see the Chiefs and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl ever, in our lifetimes? But the Bucs, they have to take advantage. We have Tom Brady. Listen, our defense has always been pretty good. I mean, we had Jameis, who was not a bad quarterback, like Michael mentioned and Marlon mentioned. I just want to go and put my tidbit out there about Jameis. Man, could have got defensive player of the year a couple times.
Clearly not to say that. Y'all gonna leave Jameis alone. Y'all gonna leave Jameis alone.
he had to get LASIK, man. Come on.
Hey, man, helmet might have been turned around backwards a couple times. That's all. Yeah. But you will have Tom Brady, and you clearly won't have him like Michael said. The Chiefs are built to run for the next 5, 6, 7 years. They may have to do some stuff on defense, but Mahomes he's not even really fully in his prime yet, so they're gonna be here for a while. The Bucs, you have a very old quarterback who is playing like he's young. And so if the defense that you have here, you should take advantage of this because let's be real, the Bucs might not never be back. I mean, I hope that's not the case. The Bucs may never make it back soon. So again, so they should take advantage of this chance while they're here. Who knows? They could pick up like a franchise quarterback sometime soon. Next coach drafts him, make it back. But Tom got you here along with the defense. But like Marlon and Michael said, you're here because Tom came in. He led and galvanized the troops and the coaching staff. It's the right time for the Bucs, and they need to take advantage of this because clearly Tom is riding off into the sunset very soon. So the Bucs organization needs to go ahead and get this Super Bowl ring and just be like, yeah, we finally made it after we had to suffer for the last couple decades. So that's what I'm.
Well, that's why I think there's so much more pressure on them in terms by comparison to Patrick, because we look at Patrick and we realize that he's 25 years old. If we look at Brady and realize he's 43, franchise quarterbacks, if they were easy to find, the Jets would have found by mistake by now. They just don't happen. So,
hey, Michael, repeat that again. Me and somebody on here had this exact same conversation.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We don't have time for that. Our segment's over.
That's another invitation.
Frequently, they would have found one by mistake. Detroit would have found one by mistake. It would have happened by mistake at this point. But they come along so few. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes in Nebraska. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, these guys have been playing in the league for 15 plus years. Patrick Mahomes has been playing 3, and we're already putting him in the same class of category with those guys. So finding a quarterback like that is a once, maybe a twice in a generational type of situation. So for Tampa Bay, there's no reason to believe that when Tom Brady rides off, you're just going to go find another Tom Brady.
That's
not going to happen. Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year contract, so he's
not going anywhere
for the next decade, no matter what happens. So, that's why I think there's more urgency, maybe not pressure, but maybe more urgency for the Bucs to complete this deal. They're not going to get as many swipes at the pot.
That's true. That's true.
That sounds like a great way to wrap it up.
Yes, so that's gonna do it for our first segment. Y'all did great. We're killing it. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna take a break and come back, and then we're gonna get y'all's predictions, score and winner and MVP for the game tomorrow. So stick around, stay with us. We're gonna take a short break. We'll come back and give you our predictions. 1. All right, welcome back. So, of course, like I said before the break, we're going to get into our predictions and kind of tell you who we think will win tomorrow and by how much. And just to let people know, if you're planning on betting on this game, I think the Chiefs are favored by 3 or 3.5 points. So they're predicting a close one. And also too, just some stats for the game. You know, the Chiefs have the number 1 passing offense. The Bucs have the 5th passing defense, and then the Bucs have the number 1 rushing defense in the league. So it's gonna not it's almost a strength on strength. The Chiefs are missing 2 offensive linemen, and so the Bucs, you know, JPP and Shaq Barrett and Devin White, they're gonna. Oh my God! If they terrorize Mahomes like they did Aaron Rodgers, it's gonna be a long day for Mahomes. So with all that being said, we're gonna get to our picks and tell you who we think. So let's start with Michael. Who you got? Who are you taking tomorrow?
So I'm going 31-24. I was thinking about going 31-28, but I'm going to go ahead and go 31-24. I think the Chiefs are going to win. As I said, I think it's going to come down to a critical special teams play, which is going to get the Chiefs in a position where they can just keep the lead away from Tom and not give them a position, give them the opportunity to take the lead. I think the MVP is
you don't have to give you MVP right now, but yeah.
It's going to be the quarterback. I think we all know that. It's going to be 15 or 12, depending on which team wins. So, but that's where I see the game coming down to being tight pretty much through, and then a special teams play, putting one team 2 scores away.
Special teams, okay. Adrian, who you got winning and why?
You know, I actually did the exact opposite of Michael. I did the I guess the same score, the 31-24, but I went the Bucks. And I think for me, I like to be underdog. I think that you know, I think that everything's just gonna kind of come in and they're just gonna fall in, and it's just gonna happen for them. I think there's a lot that's riding on them, and they're gonna just capitalize on the opportunity.
So Brady rides off into the sunset with the 7th championship.
He's too old to do another one. I think he's gonna recognize that, and he's just gonna let this be number 7.
Gotcha. Dad, who you got winning and why?
It's crazy. My score changed like about 5 hours ago. So
yes.
38-28, the Chiefs.
10 points. All right.
Yeah, 10 points for us. I said, man, they've been beating teams by 10 or more. Now I don't think it's gonna change in the playoffs. Although you do have playoff Brady coming to town and playoff Lenny and all the other playoff people. You come give them that name around, throwing the playoff moniker around. But yeah, I'm with Michael. Like, most people don't account for special teams. I feel like a certain special teams play could happen. It usually does happen in the Super Bowl. But it'll be close first 3 quarters, and I feel like the Chiefs will just kind of ride it out in the 4th. Defense, like you said, Devin, with all those names on defense, if they can get to Mahomes and make it tough for him, and maybe, I mean, we seen and this is a completely different atmosphere, but we saw what happened the first time they played. You know, they couldn't stop the cheetah out there, man. He was just running around everybody. But I think they'll Chiefs win by 10 points and ride off into the sunset for their 2nd Super Bowl. So.
All right, Marlins. So who you got winning and why?
Well, he's Mahomes. Well,
that's it, Mahomes.
That's just
that's it. That's how you need to know.
hey, listen, because it's weird. Just quick side note: Mahomes' only playoff loss was to Brady. Last year, and I think he dropped 34 points.
Yep.
I feel like it's impossible to beat this man in the playoffs. Kind of like how it was with Brady earlier. So, two things that seem impossible, something's got to give here. So I am Chiefs 31-27. And I mean, I think it's going to be a whole lot closer than. I mean, it's going to be I'm not going with that on the 10-point swing because a lot closer because they do have each team has a significant weakness that the other can exploit. So that's going to be the interesting part about tomorrow.
All right,
Devin, go ahead and tell us who you think's gonna win and why.
Yeah. So for me, I probably have the smallest point differential. I'm going 28-27. I got a 1-point game. Chiefs, 28-27, Kansas City. And the reason is I do think Tampa's going to have success getting home. I just think you missing 2 offensive linemen. They're going to hit Mahomes a lot, but I think a late drive, by Patrick puts him over the top. Kind of how, they did it in the playoff game where they actually lost in overtime. But that type of drive to steal it from Brady at the end, I think it's going to be a nail-biter. Patrick takes it at the end. And the Chiefs win 28-27. And so, yeah, there you go. That's my prediction. Everybody looks like everybody's pretty much got them covering the point differential, except Adrian's got the Tampa there. So, all right. So let's go move on to our MVP predictions. These are probably pretty easy to predict. I'm sure everybody assumes it's going to be the quarterback. So let's see. Right. So Adrian, give us your MVP prediction.
So I went with somebody different just because I was an offensive lineman whenever I played football. So I actually went with Ryan Jensen, the center for the Bucks. Just because I understand that the quarterback is awesome and it's kind of the Superman of the team, but that relationship that you have to have, with the center and that quarterback, especially when you got somebody like Brady to come in and kind of, take over the program, you got to have somebody who can really, take that leadership and be good. So, I mean, if the Chiefs win, we'll give it to their center, but I think at the end of the day, I'm going to say the center should be the MVP.
All right. That who's going to be the MVP?
My homeboy, Money Mahomes,
that ain't
Mac, whatever you want to call him, bro. Number 15. Hey man, the ketchup lover himself, bro. MVP, bro. You know what I'm saying? As a fellow ketchup lover, I just So listen, man, the man has answered the call so far in most of the biggest games and the bigger games of his career so far, and I don't think that's going to stop here. So Mahomes MVP, like Michael said, is usually, and like I said, I went off on a tangent about the regular season MVP, but it's become the case with anything that's an MVP award in the NFL. Most of the time, the quarterback is going to get it. So
yeah,
that's going for you.
So Patty Mahomes. All right, Marlon, who you got for MVP tomorrow?
I'm with Michael and Thad. I think it's gonna be Mahomes. So I want to do something nice. I want to throw out like a little side note on underrated MVP. I think they could let Travis Kelce get it if he plays the way he plays.
Yeah.
Because Travis, by being a tight end, he could put up like a 2-touchdown game. That could throw him into some serious consideration for the MVP. That's just an underrated pick, but I do feel Mahomes being the quarterback, if they win, he gets the MVP.
No, I think you're absolutely right with that because Travis Kelce is particularly positioned in the way that this game is unfolding. You've got issues on the tackle position. So the way you counteract that schematically is by attacking the middle of the field behind the linebacker in front of the safety. That's where Travis Kelce lived. So if Travis Kelce from a tight end position controls the tempo of the game, he influences what they do in terms of how the game progresses, which he can very easily do, and he's done before in other games that they've had. Travis Kelce can very easily put his name in that hat if we look at that game and we just say, like in the first game, we say that Tyreek Hill was unguardable. You wouldn't have given the MVP to Patrick even in that game. Yeah. So if Kelce is able to do something like that, because we feel like they're not going to repeat that mistake, and
Right.
let Tyrone be out there by himself again. So that's
Right.
going to leave Kelsey open in the middle of the field. And I totally agree with that he's a sleeper pick. By the same token, I think Gronkowski has an equal chance to affect the game in the same way because of how similar their game styles are, how similar they can play, and how similarly they can be used. And both of them can physically and dominate the game from the run and passing game with their blocking and pass catching. So that's actually a great sneaky pick.
Mm-hmm.
So who did you? I don't remember. Did you give us your MVP? Was it Patrick?
So me?
Yes, you, Michael.
When you doing the scores? You remember?
Just making sure. Just making sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the quarterback
gave
is
out his score was like 22, 26 bombs.
It is. Now, another sneaky pick that that hasn't really been thought of because one, he's a rookie, but two, Edward Leclerc out of the backfield. We talk about the tackle issue, particularly for the Chiefs. One of the other ways you address that is by using the swing game, the screen game, and the draw game from the running back position. And we know that he's an electric player. We also realize we've been talking about Antonio. The other killer bee is also in this game in Le'Veon Bell, and so
he's playing.
It could be a factor that we're not really thinking about, but he's a guy that can be used in both the backfield and as a wideout and in basically any position on the field. So he could be an X factor that shows up big in this game.
All right, so that leaves me for
you,
my MVP. So y'all kind of talked about him already. It was Travis Kelce. That's my MVP pick. I think, Devin White, he's great. I just don't think you'll be able to shut down Travis Kelce. I mean, they're going to put a lot of attention towards, trying to stop the cheetah. And I think that's going to leave the underneath open for Travis Kelce to eat up tomorrow and get, like Marlon was saying, like 10 catches, close to 100, over 100 yards. He could have that type of monster game tomorrow if they can't get home. Even if they do get home, I think it's just hard to cover Travis Kelce with the linebacker or corner or anybody. The man is huge. He's incredible. So he's going to eat them up. I feel like tomorrow he's going to be the MVP. And so if I had a second pick, it's probably Tyreek Hill. But it's probably gonna be Mahomes anyway. If they win, it's gonna go to Mahomes. That's just how. That's just how it works in the NFL. Quarterbacks get all the praise.
They also get all the blame.
Exactly.
So when they fail, we're gonna be talking about Mahomes. If either fails, we're gonna be talking about how the quarterback didn't get it done. We're not gonna be talking about how the team didn't get it done. In the same way we talked about the Packers. It was Aaron Rodgers that didn't get it done, as opposed to the Packers defense giving up a first down at the end of the game. That's just the way narratives unfold, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The quarterback's like the general of the team when you're looking at them on the field. So they've got the ownership and the responsibility. And before we let y'all go, one of the things that we know that everybody's going to be doing tomorrow is drinking and eating and just having a little bit of merriment to kind of get through the Super Bowl. So we just kind of wanted to ask everybody, let us know, what's your drink of choice going to be tomorrow and what's going to be maybe your favorite food that you want to have to snack on. Pat, start us off.
Look at that, rubbing his hands together. That was exciting.
First to last. I don't know if I can follow him.
It's crazy. I said this earlier during break, man. Adrian, Marlon, Devin, Mike is my first time meeting, but y'all know my resume. Y'all know how I get down. This is an amazing event, bro. The reason why I look forward to events like this, the game is cool and all that stuff, but people like to throw down, and that's what I'm there for. People, what do you go and get 5 pizzas and 50 wings?
Yes, sir.
It's crazy, but Devin, I know this is gonna be a shock. Most people like beer, and Devin, before he told us. Well, he told him to bring something that just show people. Right here, this is a gallon of Arnold Palmer, bro. Sweet tea mix.
Okay, I was like,
I was about to say, where is that going?
Hey, I said this was dark for Bud Light.
I got a Long Island, buddy.
Oh, boy.
Listen, you go to the drink, but man, listen. that go with anything. Pizza, wings,
Okay.
salad. If you
Salad.
No, man, but like everybody else, probably people like throwing your rotel stuff. I know a friend. I probably just gonna get some pizzas and wings and just go from there. But yeah, it's gonna be a glorious time tomorrow, man. Put up historic numbers tomorrow, bro.
Somebody else setting records.
T-shirt I'm wearing tonight. We're gonna go in the Raptors. I'm trying to go in. Hey man, I might even go 30 for 30.
Oh.
20 for 20. I'm gonna do 20 for 20.
20 for 20. That might be the MVP tomorrow.
Hey man, listen, bro. I was one last year. I know.
Now, Michael, why don't you tell us what you're going to be drinking on and eating on tomorrow?
Okay, well, I come from a restaurant background, so to speak. So my man would love to be at the house. So tomorrow we probably will have grilled pork loin. We probably have
we make that.
We got some pizza. We got some pork chops, barbecued in Hawaiian barbecue, that kind of thing. We like to get down on some. We really do like to get down. You have met my husband. This man loves to eat, and I love to cook. So this is a great combination for us. So we're going to have a lot of that kind of stuff. What I'm sipping on is always going to be that Ciroc. Before Diddy did it.
Gotta put the disclaimer in there.
Ciroc before Diddy. But yeah, I like we'll have another whole conversation about liquor profiles later.
Yeah.
But Ciroc is probably that, and if it's not that, it's gonna be that straight up probably Pinot Noir because I like to keep it real bourgeois. My barbecued and grilled meats. I'm a meat eater. I heard someone say, "What is this salad people keep talking about?" What is this salad? Everyone keeps saying. I don't know what that is. But there might be some macaroni, and there's gonna be bacon on whatever else is available. So yeah.
There you go. And Marlon, you can pick up on that. Are you gonna be having some salad or what you?
Hey, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what I tell people when they tell me about a salad. If God wanted me to eat a salad, He would have made me thump him. So that lets you know how I feel about salad.
No, I'm gonna figure out what it is one day.
Hey, when you find out, let me know. But I guess
it's bad time to get a salad tomorrow. Don't get a salad tomorrow.
No, I won't.
No salads.
No.
Super Bowl, you don't get salad on Super Bowl. That don't even sound right. I don't mean no salad while watching the Super Bowl. That don't even sound right.
Look, we apologize to all the vegans out there.
Yeah, sorry.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Hey, Super Bowl salad. I'm gonna let y'all have it. But I guess for me, I'm not the biggest drinker, but I do have a preference of choice. Bear with me on this. Ocean Spray juices.
Hey, Ocean Spray go hard.
Top tier.
All right.
The crayon white peach. I went and got 2 crayon white peaches today. And also with that, I'm gonna tell you how bad it is now. I'm gonna get wings after this podcast.
Hey.
So consistently, wings are my go-to, regardless of the situation.
I might have ordered some on the laptop while y'all was talking earlier, but that I can either confirm or deny that.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, wings and pizza, you can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Devin, what you gonna be having?
All right, so kind of like Marlon, I'm not a huge drinker, but if I do drink, my go-to is kind of Tito's, and it could be, fruit punch, it could be cranberry juice, Sprite. You can pretty much mix it with anything. That's my usual go-to. I don't get too crazy. I'm not a beer fan either, so can't do that. And as far as food, tomorrow we're going to try some rotel, but we're going to add some shrimp to it, see how that comes out. We've never done it before, but we're going to try it and see. And then
you got the do. Yeah, you got that.
Yeah, we got to be fancy over here.
Yeah, you got that.
All right, so we're gonna have some rotel with some shrimp. We'll have some fried fish, and I think we might have some little barbecue smokies. And I think that's probably it. We might order some wings too. It's gonna be hard though because we're a little late. So we'll probably do that. And so yeah, we're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I totally stuck on the Smokies. I'm about to have to hit the store real quick.
And they quick and easy, man.
Dang, I'm sleeping on the Smokies. I done slipped up. Oh man. I have to hit Tom.
Look, grape jelly and some barbecue sauce, so you good to go.
Ooh, yeah. We got all the other kind of meat. We're going. You know how Devin is familiar with me and my husband. We like to do spreads and stuff like that because we way go overboard with everything unnecessarily by accident on purpose. But so yeah, we got to get the Smokies. I got the pork chops going. We got the pork loin going. We got to get all that stuff going. But yeah, I slept on the Smokies. Good looking out right there. Good looking out.
I got you.
Yeah, Smokies.
All right. So look, y'all made it through. Y'all basically made it through the whole show, and we didn't have any issues.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. Since we got all the brothers, I gotta ask this question because I just gotta know. Okay, so for me, it's the lemon pepper. What kind of flavors y'all talking about? Everybody talking about wings. What kind of flavors y'all talking?
Hey, listen.
I'll let Mark go first.
Yeah.
Hey, hear me out.
Connoisseurs.
Hey, I appreciate the compliment. Connoisseur.
Hey.
I would take liquid gold,
okay,
hot Louisiana lemon pepper is what this place that I go to called. It's called Wing Zone. They have different little variety of names, but lemon pepper is definitely a top 3 flavor for me.
Okay,
if you're gonna want wings, my mentor chef. I can't even tell you the secret. I can tell you the name of it, but sticky sauce. If you're ever in the Memphis area, and you can get some sticky wings, that's one. Or if you ever are around me, I'll make it for you since I actually know the secret ingredients. But that's the best kind of wings you can have. Some sticky wings.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Usually for like parties and stuff, I would go get my own flavors, but like if you have just a platter full, lemon pepper, garlic parmesan, mild, honey barbecue, I eat all of them, but I usually go and get like the just regular barbecue and then whatever like kind of like Asian sauce they have, like I think at Buffalo Wild Wings this sweet Asian zing. I think the Wingstop is like Korean, spicy Korean barbecue, stuff like that. So
whatever's Asian available, we got.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, can't go wrong with barbecue wings, bro.
No, you can't.
Okay. Devin.
So for me, lemon pepper is number 1. Garlic parmesan. I'm not really a fan of hot, but I'll do like a hot barbecue. They used to have it at Buffalo Wild Wings. They took it away. And then sneakily, teriyaki at Buffalo Wild Wings is really good. That's a go-to too.
Yeah. So we got Wingstop. Y'all got I know we spread out over the countryside a little bit. We got Wingstops here in the Dallas area. Y'all got this.
Yeah, we have Wings.
Yeah.
We have Wingstop.
Yeah.
Wingstop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good spot. But for me, it's that lemon pepper, and then we're gonna talk about the rest.
Wingstop need to sponsor us.
Can we call them and try to get a sponsorship?
A sponsor? Come on now.
We hyping them up.
We will happily promote that.
Hey, we gotta go straight to the source. We gotta go straight to Rick Ross.
I'm telling you, right, bro. Like next time you go to Wingstop, hey, listen, I shout y'all out on my podcast. Can I get a free wing?
Y'all didn't see the episode? Y'all didn't see the episode?
Y'all need video?
Look, man,
let me get a lemon pepper.
Look, we appreciate y'all coming on. It's 8:30, so we made it a whole hour.
Okay.
But I've enjoyed this, start to finish. We appreciate y'all staying on late with us and talking about the game tomorrow. And yeah, so again, if you want to, you can put your social media handles out there. Tell the people where they can find you on Facebook, IG, and Twitter if you want.
Oh,
you can start, Michael. You're the artist.
I'm happy to go first. Michael Ray, MyKullRay. You can find me on Google, Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever. You see the plaques or whatever. Back here, we putting out albums. We got music. We do interior design. We do fashion design. I got lead-ins and all kinds of stuff. So we just do kind of an artist production conglomerate here that we work out of called Radius Productions. You can just say go RAYDIUS. So you can Google us up, see what we're doing, whatever. We'd love to have, followers, visitors come through, commentate, listen to the music. We're doing a project right now where on my TikTok stuff, you can actually have an influence on the songs that we're writing. So we're taking feedback and writing as a collective group this song that we're going to then put out as, the followers of Michael Ray wrote this song type of deal. So it's just some fun, kind of exciting stuff to kind of get you engaged a little bit. In terms of what we're doing, in terms of the music and our production type stuff. So, happy that, I'll be looking for you fellas.
Hey, I'm gonna check you out, man.
Dad, where can the people find you?
At TJ Mavs, Twitter and Instagram. Like I said, Michael, I don't know if Mike knows this, I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, so that's kind of where that came from. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll find you.
So, but yeah, that's where you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and any other platforms.
All right, Mr. Dorsey, where can the people find you?
You can just find me, Marlon Dorsey, on Facebook, Maven Marlon on Twitter, Marlon Marl on Instagram.
Follow with caution. Follow with caution. We'll say.
So just just on Twitter because I do tend to get here and there.
All right.
Basically, you're just saying it's a little bit PG-13 maybe.
Just a little bit.
Hey, viewer discretion is advised.
Whoa.
Right.
Hey, hold on. It's nothing like that.
Okay, wait a minute.
You can look at my page in public.
Okay.
It at least has the public seal of approval.
Yeah, the public.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So we all good there. But
okay. Yeah.
All right.
Well, viewers, definitely, engage with our commentators. We Devin and I were talking, off the show a little bit about, maybe having, some entertainment or stock market commentators or different, interests. So be on the lookout for other faces that you may see on the Black Agenda podcast and our live shows, just to kind of commentate on some things that are going on. But yeah, we really, really wanted to just say, before we go, thank you to all three of our guests. Y'all were awesome. Y'all made this, more than what we thought it was going to be. So really, really thank y'all for being on the show today.
Yeah, there's no problem,
man.
Hey, no problem, man.
Happy to come on. Your boy is in on the stocks and the financial markets. It's unprecedented. I make my house is like the Starship Enterprise.
There you have it, viewers. Pay attention. You may have Michael coming back to give you some insight.
Marlon too.
Help you follow up on some GameStop.
Hey.
Before we go into our break here, we wanted to make sure to let people. We always like to do a This Day in History, and this day in history for y'all music fans out there. In 1945, the legend, the great Bob Marley was actually born. So we wanted to kind of highlight a little bit of this day in history before we go to our break. So we'll give y'all a break, and then we'll end this thing, and we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. So, of course, we always like to end the show doing some quick hits. And so today's episode is a little different, not much news. And so, a lot more interactive having our guests on. And so we did want to cover some news to get you out of here. And so the first thing we want to cover, of course, the pandemic is still here, has not gone anywhere. COVID-19 continues, spreading, but there's good news. So we're I guess this is yesterday, we performed about 332 million tests. We have 26, or this is total. We have about 332 total tests that have been performed. That's 332 million. We have 26.7 million cases. Hospitalizations are like in half from what they were, say, a month ago, at about 84,000. And then deaths are at total 452,000. So again, things are finally calming down, but the totals there are just, staggering, considering we started out this pandemic with people saying that we weren't going to lose more than, 1,000 people. We're well over closing in on 500,000. So continue wearing your mask, social distancing, don't just wait on the vaccine. Still continue taking the same precautions.
Yeah, Devin, I think that's an understatement. I think we have kind of gotten really relaxed, but that death count, that's definitely been steadily going up. So everyone, make sure you mask up. Devin, I forgot to even look. The rapper that we're going to talk about, viewers, I got his music on my Spotify, but I've actually never even realized how to pronounce his first name or his actual rapper name. Devin, what's his rapper name?
It's Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, yeah, but see, I have his music, but I can't even remember how to pronounce it. And it's even more idiotic that he's got this $24 million pink diamond embedded in his forehead. I think. One of the things that we wanted to talk about, viewers, with this is that you can be rich and famous and do what you want to with your money. But I think when you're a person who's a minority and you have such wealth where you can put $24 million in a useless pink diamond, that's kind of saying something that could have been deviated to maybe help maybe wherever he's from or something like that. But yeah, Devin, it's really interesting to me to see such wealth where people just kind of squander it to things like this. I mean, that's not to say that you can't spend your money how you want to. We saw, even, LeBron James, as altruistic as he is, bought a house for his daughter. So obviously you can do what you want to with your money, but it's just nice to see when people who have such, level of income do, real things with their money that can actually help society. But hey, viewers, I know everyone's seen, the vision memes of, kind of what it looks like. So if you haven't, just Google it. You'll be able to see it. I think I Googled Diamond Head rapper, and that popped up for me.
$24 million. And get this, he paid over 5 years to get this done, which makes it even that much worse that this was planned out. So there you go, $24 million in your forehead. Right. Our next story here comes from Congress. The one and only Marjorie Greene Taylor continues on her conspiracy theory tour, rampage, whatever you want to call it. She's not really backing down from what she's been saying, and so she lied to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and others about her conspiracy threats. So there were like a bunch of stories showing up this week about her. There was a video of her kind of, following one of the kids from the Parkland shooting, trying to say that it was staged, and asking them, why don't you support assault rifles and gun ownership? And she followed this kid from like where they were walking to the Capitol, and she's just sitting there berating them, asking all these questions, harassing. And just harassing them. It just looked kind of crazy, strange for somebody who's now in the House of Representatives, from Georgia. So she got, I think eventually the House voted to remove her from all of her committees, and so she's no longer on any committees, thankfully. And like I say, she's not backing down from her claims. And so, Adrian, this is something that's, again, for the folks who thought that the Trumpism, that the Trump people were going to go away, they're not. Marjorie Greene Taylor did not back down from anything that she said.
No, and she just like, I mean, Jewish space lasers, really just enforcing some of the just foolishness. I'm like, saying that people basically orchestrated all of these mass shootings just to get more liberal gun legislation. I mean, whenever you're a representative and you're saying things like, well, obviously I know she said it before, but
Yeah.
there's been tweets and things where she said some of these things more recently. So Georgians, please pay attention to this and rectify this wrong, because we don't need somebody like her in Congress. And our last little quick hit, we just wanted to just let be on the lookout for the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Looks like Congress is trying to be full steam ahead with or without the GOP on this. I think the president, Joe Biden, Vice President Harris, they both have reiterated how especially important it is to get help directly to the American people, to states, schools, and things of that nature. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all of them have been really just trying to get behind something. So, with them taking, final control of the Senate, and of course they've got the majority in the House, and they've got the White House, we can expect to see that this is going to be full speed ahead, Devin. So I didn't get as much from the $600 stimulus check, so I don't know how much I'll get from this next one. But tell you what, I hope to get they need to be a little bit more relaxed on the eligibility, because I could use a little bit of help here in California.
I will tell you, it's not looking good. I mean, Biden's already said, he's willing to negotiate the cutoff limit, for the checks and when it starts phasing out. And so he said he's willing to go lower, so it's looking like, 40, 50,000 per individual, you could get the stimulus check. And if you go over that, eventually it phases out. So I'm hoping they pass it. I should qualify, but we'll see. You never know. I mean, the way that they're doing it through budget reconciliation could take some time. But Biden said it's going to be 1,400, not 2,000. Some people were getting off that they think they were going to send both a $600 check and a $2,000 check. That is not happening here. They're going to just send the remainder, 1,400. So, and it doesn't look like the minimum wage hike to $15 is going to happen either. That's probably going to be taken out as well. So it's good it's happening. I'm glad, the Biden team is pushing forward. We knew that the Republicans weren't going to negotiate for that. They came out with a $600 million bill. Like, that's pennies. Like, there needs to be a bigger response to that. So good. I'm glad that they're moving right along. And we'll bring you, of course, more updates as we find out about the stimulus bill, because I know we're all waiting on it. And so that's going to do it for weekly roundup number 3 in our Super Bowl special show. We hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having our commentators on. And of course, before we go, we always have to tell you what we have upcoming, because we do have an audio podcast for those who may not know. And so our episodes come out every Tuesday. And so our next episode is going to be coming up the following Tuesday after the Super Bowl on February 9th. And it's going to feature Mason Glenn of Catch Matchmaking, which is in Los Angeles. And he's going to give us his perspective on dating in the gay community. And so be on the lookout for that. That's going to be coming out on Tuesday. And then we'll also have another episode on dating from a straight perspective. And we'll also hope to have a Q&A with another dating expert. And so we got some good stuff coming. Of course, Valentine's Day is coming quickly. So we want to get some things out to you so you can listen and, maybe get a few tips from a matchmaker. So Adrian, kind of tell us what else we got coming up.
Yeah, as always, we got to recognize, February is, Black History Month. So we actually have a couple Black History specials or interview exclusives, as we'll say. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have one with Dr. LeGarrette King from University of Missouri, where his expertise is how Black history is interpreted and taught in society, as well as Julianne Richardson, who is the CEO and founder of the History Makers, where they have basically compiled interviews, video interviews to detail African-American history. So just to give you a little bit of details into the Black history side of things. And as always, viewers, every Saturday, we come back with a weekly roundup. So we're going to be back next Saturday, February 13th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And, this will be we'll be back to normal weekly roundup style. We'll be bringing you the breaking news of the week. So be on the lookout for that. And Devin, why don't you let them know how they can donate? We'll switch it up and give you that today.
Usually you're the money man, but yeah. So again, I say this every show. This venture is not free. It's not free to do these things. Facebook advertising, unfortunately, is not free. But yes, we always could use a few dollars here. You could donate to us, and I believe our link is patron.podbean.com. Or you
can just go to the website.
Oh, yes. Hey, I forgot. We have a website. We have a whole website. blackagendapod.com. That's our new website. You can find our entire podcast there, season 1 and season 2. And you can also donate to us. There's a link there. You can give us a few dollars. We don't need much. We're not needy. We just want a little bit. So
start off. I always say, start off with $1. Share that with your family and friends. Yeah. 30 plus $30. That takes care of our host fee for the month. So hey, you never know, you get a huge contribution to the podcast.
Exactly. And so so donate to us, but then we also we're recognizing a charity a month. And so our charity for February is an organization called Facing History and Ourselves. And so their goal is to seek to educate students of all backgrounds about the history of racism, prejudice, and anti-Semitism. And going into Black History Month, that is very relevant, and that's exactly what we need. And so be on the lookout for more details about that organization, and we're trying to secure an interview with somebody, from the organization so they can come on and kind of, talk about what they do and what people should be looking out for. And so before we go, Adrian, you can tell the people where they can find us on social media.
Yeah, as always, at Black Agenda Pod, go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, wherever you want to go that has social media, that has podcasts, just search at Black Agenda Pod. Be sure to follow us, share our information, like our stuff. We're trying to build something here that's going to really get back to our community. So again, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just go to at Black Agenda Pod. Don't forget, check out our new website. Just type in blackagendapod.com, keeping it real simple for everybody. So that way you can easily find us, easily like and share our stuff. So make sure you do that for us. Definitely.
So with that, that's going to do it for us here at the Black Agenda Podcast. For me and Adrian, we appreciate you listening, watching, engaging with us. Again, share this across Facebook with your friends, family, groups. Put it on IG, Twitter, put it everywhere you can. We're just trying to build this thing. We are nearing 3,000 downloads on our podcast, and that's in less than a year. And so we're doing pretty well. So we're trying to build it and pick up some momentum into our second season. So again, we appreciate you listening and watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.